it's logged me out. I haven't even logged in yet. Good gracious alive. And 103 or 155, there we go. And it looks like I've got all right, here's questions that I've got. I've got some questions in 5.2, so we'll do those first. I've got 5.263, 5.259, and 5.265. So I believe 59 comes first. So 5.2, number 59. 17, number 17 online. Is this a test question? What I usually tell students when I start a homework problem, is this a test question? And if it ever comes up, I will tell you that. Yeah, this was not happening in the first and second class. I put up questions and they come right up. So I don't know what's going on. Here's the question. It's coming up. Well, it was. Yeah, there's something going on. All right, so this is a test question. Tell me when you can see the 5.2, number 59. You see it? Yes or no?
It just came up.
I can see it.
Okay, well, at least it come up. Go ahead and write that question down. This is a test question. Now, negative bracket 11 minus parentheses 6 minus 12 squared, close brackets, all over brackets, parentheses 18 divided by 6 plus 4, close brackets, squared, minus 48 divided by 2. Now, for the old adage, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Excuse my dear Aunt Sally. And by mathematics, we go down. Algebra, we go up. But I'm not going to worry about algebra because we're not in algebra yet. Let's see these first. Multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction in that order. Now, I'm going to deal with numerator and then denominator. I'm not going to do all at one time. So, and do this. I'm going to do the parentheses first. 6 minus 12. So negative brackets 11 minus 6 minus 12 is negative 6 over, we could do a little bit down here, as long as we don't do it all at one time, and that's okay. 18 divided by 6. What's 18 divided by 6?
3.
3, Hubert. That's right. Thank you. Appreciate it. It's always good to communicate so you don't end up in a closet term. 48 divided by 2 is 24. Now you're going to notice something about the way I do these problems when I get finished. And I'm going to ask the class, what do you notice about the way that I did this problem? And hopefully you will be able to answer that. I hope I'm not cutting out. Keep me posted on if I'm cutting out or not is bad.
You are for me.
Please, in the chat. I appreciate it. Okay. Well, thanks. Remember, turn all your phones off whenever you're not using them. Just for those people just now joining, it's frozen on my screen. Great. Well, usually when it freezes, the video will unfreeze in just a second. Sometimes it gives it a minute. If it doesn't unfreeze after about a minute, let me know and I'll resend it. That's all I can do. I think today's class is sabotaged by the Russians. All right, so here we go. Negative brackets, 11 minus, and that's going to be 36 brackets, 7 close brackets squared minus 24. I'm going to go ahead and take the whole page up. Shoot. Oh, well, my son is on his hotspot, so I'm the only one on the internet. That's sad. I don't know which one. Can y'all at least see the whiteboard? Can y'all at least see what I'm doing right here? Can you see that?
Yep.
Okay, well, we'll just have to go with this. I'm sorry. I was too late in the class to try to reboot, so I don't know what the problem is. All right, so 11 minus 36. 11 minus 36 is going to be 25, a negative 25. So that gives us negative brackets, negative 25 divided by 49 minus 24. And that's going to be 25 over 49 minus 24 is what? Should be 25. Somebody check my math.
Yep.
Now, whether I got this right or wrong, can somebody tell me what do they notice about the way I did this problem? What do you notice about the way I did this problem? Anybody?
No calculator.
No calculator. That's a good observation. That's not what I'm looking for, but I appreciate it. What does somebody else notice about it? You can either type it in or you can just, interact, with the microphone, either one. Anybody notice anything else about the way I did this problem? Anybody?
Didn't you do the order of operations? Like you got them separated?
I did the order of operations, yes. That's a good observation. That's not what I'm looking for, but that's a good observation. Come on, people. Some of y'all are OCD with this. In other words, there's some people out there that's very, very peculiar about, not peculiar, but what's the word I'm looking for? Animate about the way that you blank. About the way that, what?
You did it neatly, like going straight down?
Exactly. Yeah. I did it blank by what? Blank. What am I looking for?
Line by line.
I did it step by step. I'm going to show you what some of y'all do. Okay, y'all meaning this class and other classes. This is what y'all do. Here's a piece of notebook paper. And here's the lines on your notebook paper. And y'all write the problem down. Negative bracket 11 minus 6 minus 12 squared, close bracket, and then divided by, and then you write bracket 18 divided by 6 plus 4, close bracket, squared minus 48 divided by 2. And then you try to do it in this next area right here. You know what? That don't work. And you know who usually does this? The guys. Okay? It ain't going to work. You're not going to be able to go from here to the answer in just that. So if you're trying to do that, forget it. You're going to have to do this. And that's called step by step. And that's what these problems are designed to cultivate. The step-by-step process. Let's do another one. Let's see if that answer is correct. Well, I give you kudos, whoever did the problem, they got at least the coefficient correct. They just got the sign wrong. But we all know positive $100 in the bank is not equal to negative $100 in the bank, is it? So that was number 59, and that one goes away. Now let's look at, that's 65, and that's 63. So this is number 63 in the book, number 19 online. Now, is it a test question? My computer's running faster. Is my audio getting better? Okay, a mountain. Go ahead, what?
I was going to say it seems to be better.
Okay, I think whatever's happened, hopefully it's getting better because my computer is getting faster. And my computer is brand new. It's only like 3 months old. I got it like 3 months ago from Tri-County. All right, so a mountain is 16,262 above sea level. Okay, so I'm going to draw a mountain, and it is 16 blah, blah, blah above sea level. So there's sea level. We'll do sea level in blue because I want to make sure y'all understand what's going on. So there's sea level. And above sea level is 16,262. And below sea level is 374 feet. And what is the difference in elevation between the top of the mountain and the bottom of the trench or whatever it's called? So we need that number right there. Y'all are impressed with my graphic skills, aren't you? All right, so somebody tell me, what am I going to do with those two numbers?
You're going to take the negative 324 minus 16,262.
Actually, I'm just going to add the two numbers because we're dealing with what here?
Opposite signs.
We're dealing with what? Distance. Okay? I'll give you a $100 bill. Somebody give me an example of this. Somebody give me an example of a sign on the highway that says destination negative 25 miles. $100 bill. Can anybody give me one of those? Can you give me a sign that says so-and-so, so-and-so, negative 25 miles, and so-and-so, so-and-so, negative 75 miles? Yes or no? You can't. Why? Because if I go from Anderson to Atlanta, That's the closest big city close to us. That and Charlotte. If I go from Anderson to Atlanta, I travel 200 miles. If I come back home to Anderson, did I travel negative 200 miles? Yes or no?
No.
No, I traveled 200 miles. Okay? Distance is not negative. The only thing that negative and positive tell us is what? The other D word. Direction. The only thing that negative tells you when it said below. But the distance between the bottom of this trench and the top of this is nothing but what? Distance. Whenever you're talking about distance, you're going to add the two distances together when you're wanting a total. That is a good test question. The answer, I have no idea what the two numbers added together are, but it's going to be positive because distance cannot be what?
Negative.
Negative. So I would assume if you add those two together, is that what you get? No. You get 16,636. Somebody check me.
Yes.
Somebody give it to me again because I done forgot it. 16,000 what?
636.
See,
So let's check it.
what I did
Yes.
for that question, all I did was just basically what I told you, the negative 374 minus 16, and I just disregard the negative because distance isn't negative.
You can do that as long as you use that. You use that common sense knowledge. That's fine. Just be careful. However you do it, make sure you use that perception of distance very wisely, but use it very carefully. And that is the answer. Good test question, whoever sent it. Next is 5.2. This is it. Number 65 in the book and number 20 online. First of all, is it a test question?
Please say no. Please.
Part
Please.
of the world standard time zone chart used by airlines and the United States Navy is shown. The scale along the bottom is just like a number line. Okay. Let me look and see. Okay, here's the scale right here. There's the number line. They just want to know if you can do it. Okay. Find the difference in time zones between Munich. Munich's in Germany. So Munich is going to be over here. Between Munich and Puerto Vallarta. Puerto Vallarta. Vallarta. I can't pronounce it. I'm not a Renaissance man. All right, so -7. -7 is right here. Somewhere right in here. There it is, -7. So -7, and that's 1. Now let me read the question again. Find the difference in time. Time cannot be negative either. So you've got to have a positive answer. So in this case, what is the difference between a +1 and a -7? Just ask yourself this. You owe somebody $7. You give them $1. What is the answer? -6, right? But can time be negative? Yes or no?
No.
No, I would say 6 hours. Okay. I do not agree with this. The way this question is written,
Thank you.
Okay, the way this question is written, I do not agree with that. But evidently they're wanting -6 hours. Now, let me rewrite the question. How far is Munich behind, or how far is Puerto Vallarta behind Munich? Then you would say -6 hours. But that's what they're wanting. Sometimes teachers do not write these homework questions. Does that make sense to everybody? Sometimes teachers, mathematicians, do not write these questions. So I'm just telling you that. That question should be saying, how far is Puerto Vallarta behind Munich? And then you would say negative because that means behind.
Doesn't want a negative either.
Okay, well then I have no idea.
So will you bring the chart back up?
Yeah, that don't make sense.
Difference between 1 and -7 is 8. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, so I just did my math wrong. I'm sorry. Okay, I did my math wrong. I'm sorry. The distance, yeah, the answer is 8. I did my math wrong. I'm sorry. You look at the distance between the two. All right, so that would be -7 to 0 is 7, and then 1. Okay, I see what they're asking now. Thank you, whoever said that. All right, so let's do it here. So Bogota, and Puerto Vallarta, whatever. Puerto Vallarta and Bogota. So what's the distance between -7 and I want to say -5? I can't. They don't really.
Yeah, it's -5.
Right now, I'm putting a ruler on my monitor. Looks
They
like
have-
-5.
They have it written in the problem. It is -5.
Oh, okay. I didn't see it. All right. What's the distance between -7 and -5? 2. So 2 hours. Okay, so again, I was right at the beginning when I said distance and time cannot be negative. All right, I just did the math wrong. Sorry. Okay, so your answers are going to be non-negative and non-positive because time does not have a positive or a negative in front of it. Distance does not either. So 8 and 2. I don't like that as a test question because it can be tricky, and I don't put tricky ones on my test. So just use that as an example. Distance and time cannot be negative unless somebody puts a direction in the answer, and that would be like behind or in front of. So, Mr. Pack, if you sent that question, you don't have any, don't feel ashamed because it can be a little bit tricky.
Thank
All right, that's 5.2. All right, now we're in 5.3, and I've got a bunch of questions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to filter this. Or hold on, I'm going to do by subject, and that will put all my 5.3s in line. And let's see if they've got them in order. They do. Okay, I've got 2 questions from 5.3, number 51. I got to hurry to get all these questions done. And that's all I was going to do today is questions. 5.3, 51/22. 22 online. So is this a test question? Okay, this is the question I've been waiting on. This is a question I told you that I would see in your homework and we would go over it. It is not a test question. It is a standardized test question. You might see it on a standardized test. But first thing you do is you say X is equal to 0.1 repeating. That's the first thing you do. All I did was put an X in front of it. Now I'm going to say I'm going to multiply this by 10, and I get 1.1 repeating. So I'm going to multiply this by 10. In some ways, sometimes they want you to multiply by 100. But I think since this is the 10th place, I'm going to move that here like that, and I get 10x is equal to 1.1 repeating. You could multiply by 100 if you wanted to. But since this is a 10th, I'm going to multiply by 10. Now, the book may want me to multiply by 100, but usually you multiply by 100 when this is a 100th. I'll give you an example. Let's say I give you x is equal to 0.01. Then I would multiply the whole thing by 100, and that's repeating like that. Yeah. And this whole thing is repeating. And I would get 100x is equal to 1.01 repeating. Okay. So if it starts with 100th, you usually multiply by 100. If it starts with a 10th, you can multiply by 100. It'll make it more accurate. But with repeating decimals, it doesn't really matter unless they want you to multiply by 100. But since this is a 10th, x is equal to 0.1. Since you started off with a 10th, I'm going to multiply by 10. Now you subtract the two equations from each other. 10x is equal to 1.1 repeating, and 1x is equal to 0.1 repeating. And when you subtract, somebody tell me what happens to the repeating decimals. That means I want somebody to interact with me. When you subtract, what happens? What?
Do they cancel each other?
Yep, they cancel, and that's your goal. Your goal is to get the repeating decimals to cancel, and that's why you multiply by 10 or 100. I think in this one we're going to multiply by 10. This is not a problem I do a lot, and I don't test you on it, but they will test you on a standardized test. 10 minus 1 is 9x is equal to 1, and divide by 9, x is equal to 1/9. Now somebody take your handy dandy calculator out, and this is how you check it. I'm going to get mine. And check it. You do 1 divided by 9. Look there. What's the answer? 0.1 doing what?
Repeating.
Repeating.
Repeating. Yep. And that's how you check it. Now, let me give you another example. I don't want to, let me pick one out because y'all probably sent me one with a 100th. Let me look right quick. I always wait on this one because it's better to do this one as y'all get to it. Because if I try to show it to you like in general class, you'll be like, what the heck? Let me see, 5.3. I just did 51. I bet 53 is like to the 10th. Let me see if it is, or the 100th. Yeah, there we go. All right, here's 100th. So x is equal to 4.54 repeating. So I'm going to multiply by 100. So I take my handy dandy pink highlighter or marker, and I multiply by 100. And that gives me 100x is equal to 454.54. And what is the 54 doing? Oops, I'm sorry. I suck. Are we still lagging?
It's a lot better.
Yeah, good. So now we've got 100x is equal to 454.54 repeating minus 1x 4.54. And what happens? What's 100 minus 1?
99.
And what happens to the repeating and the 4?
Cancels.
So you're left with 450, I assume. Now you do need to reduce. So x is equal to 450 over 99. And of course, the first thing I think of is 9 because of that 99 on the bottom, or 3 or 9. But since 9 will go into 45, I reduce this, divide by 9, and that equals 50 over what? And how do you check it? You go to your handy dandy calculator and you divide 50 by 11. And you feel good about yourself.
So, with the 1, is it always 1x?
Okay, now I'm gonna do something here, Mr. Pack, but it's not directed toward you. I don't want you to think I'm being smart. I always do this when a student asks this, okay? Whether it's an algebra or trig. I even have to do this in calculus sometimes. I'm gonna put something right here on this page. And this, hopefully, after today, you won't ever have to ask that question again. Because this is what, I had to learn this as a student. 0x is equal to 25. 1x is equal to 25. And 2x is equal to 25. Okay, which one of these cannot happen?
0.
Okay, so I'm going to put a red line through 0. Can these two happen? Yes. Now, 1 is the multiplicative identity, which means, and that's word, multiplicative identity, which means 1 times 5,000 is what? 5,000. 1 times 1/2 is 1/2. 1 times -5 is -5. So does 1 actually change anything when you multiply them? Yes or no? Does 1 change anything when you multiply?
No.
Doesn't change a thing. So instead of having it there, a lot of the times we just write what? X is equal to 25. So if you ever see a variable sitting by itself, what coefficient is always in front of it? 1. Because it can't have 0 because this doesn't exist. This does not exist. And if it was a 2, then it would have a what in front of it? A 2. If it was a -4, it would have a -4 in front of it. So to answer your question, and a lot of people ask this question, how do I know there's a 1 in front of it? Well, I just showed you. There's only one time in all of our universe that X has a 1 in front of it. And that's when you have nothing in front of it because it can't be this. So it has to have a 1 in front of it. Does that make sense, Mr. Pike?
Yes. Yes.
And I have to go through that in any algebra-based course at least once or twice a semester, because people forget that there is a 1 there, because you can't have this. Because a lot of people say, I ask this question right here, x is equal to 25, and I'll say, what's here? And first thing they'll say is 0. Well, that can't happen. You can't have this. This is, there's no way. So if it's not a 0, what's the only number it can be? 1, because if it was a 2, then it would be what? 2x equal to 25. The only reason you don't put 1 is because 1 is the multiplicative identity. It gives you anything that's right there, so there's no reason to put it there. So hopefully that helps you out. Okay? The question that was asked, the 2 homework questions, and this is what they will test you on. If you start with a 10th, what do you multiply by? That's a Q, Q-U-E. Miss Goodman, were you trying to help me out there by interacting?
10.
10. If it starts with 100th, you multiply by what?
100.
100. Okay, what if it started with 1,000th? What if it was 0.541 repeating?
You would times by 1,000.
You would multiply by 1,000 on both sides. Okay? So hopefully that helps you out with those. And let's look and see what else y'all are asking. Oh, let's type in our answer. Type as an improper fraction. I think we got 1/9. No, that was 50 over 11. 50 divided by 11, and you feel good about yourself. Good job. Good questions. That's all these questions right here. Let's see what this one is. That's the same question. So, Goodman, Pack, Mia, and Williamson. Are those good? You feel good?
Yes.
You want me to do another one?
No. Yes.
Okay. Which one? 100th or 10th?
10th.
10th. Okay. Well, let's see if we'll do this one. Okay, there we go. So x is equal to 0.2 repeating, and I'm going to put a 1 there just to help y'all out. Now, I'm going to do it in my head, so that way I won't mess you up, and I'm going to put it up here so I can go ahead and, so somebody tell me what happens when well, I'll do it over here to the side. How about that?
Hey, I have another class. Can I go ahead and leave?
I'm sorry, what?
I have another class. I need to go ahead and leave.
You go ahead, just catch up with the recording, okay?
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
it's time to go. Mr.
Yes.
Pack, you didn't tell me. Thank you,
I'm
Ms. Hunter.
sorry.
Just now
That's all right.
noticed.
Okay, we will continue with these homework questions Friday. Y'all get out of here, have a good day, and I'll see y'all Friday, okay?
Thank you.
Have a good one.
All right, thank you, Ms. Hunter.